Welcome back, or welcome if you're watching for the first time, to the F1 2021 My Team Series. Loza Racing is the team that we are currently, and it is the US Grand Prix in this episode. Now, something funny about this is, I am currently recording this commentary on the 25th of November 2021. This gameplay was recorded on the 15th of September, so over 2 months ago. Which is pretty interesting, but let's just update you on where all the teams are. As you can see, we are currently the 7th best team in the field. We've just overtaken Alpine after the Japanese Grand Prix, and so we're now firmly in the midfield, that is for sure. But something that may disrupt that progress is a potential regulation change. We get an email from our, chief engineer or something, I don't know. I mean, I'm the owner of the team, so I don't know who Francisco is. He's the one who sort of talks to me in the menus and stuff. But we get an email from him saying that there's a potential regulation change on the horizon for next season, but they don't know yet which department it will affect. So it looks like we are getting a regulation change for the next season, which will be very interesting indeed, because obviously that can really shake up the grid dependent on what regulations or what departments end up getting changed, because not every team always retakes their parts, not every team sort of protects their parts. So next season could be very interesting as we head into qualifying then for the US Grand Prix, and it's the first time I've ever driven this track in a career mode before. I've never got this far in a career mode, not only just on YouTube but altogether. My F1 career modes haven't lasted very long. I have driven this track before plenty on F1 2020 online and stuff like that, but this is the first time I've driven it in career mode, and it's the first time I've driven it in proper anger as we go on our first qualifying lap here around the circuit of the Americas. And it's a really good track actually. I really enjoyed this track. The S section at the beginning is very, very technical and very, very hard to do, but a bit easier than Suzuka's in my opinion, because there is a bit of runoff, so if you do get it slightly wrong you can quickly correct yourself, whereas Suzuka there's absolutely no room for error. But we've managed to really go well in the S section for the first lap. And this lap, actually, there isn't any flashbacks. I'm normally one for, if I make a mistake, I'm going to flashback, because, you know, I make a lot of mistakes. But on this lap, I don't think I did a single flashback, at least when looking at the editing right now as I'm looking. The sound is all one thing, you know. Normally when there's a flashback, there's like cuts in the sound, but there isn't any cuts in the sound. As we come round turn 11, I think that is, at the end of the straight. I forget what the turn numbers are. I'll have to look at the track preview just before the race. But yeah, I think this lap is looking good so far. We've got no benchmark yet. No one else has gone for a lap. I think we're the first person on a lap, or at least at the moment no one else has finished a lap yet. As we come round the triple apex of turn, I don't know what turn number it is, but anyway, it's a really nice turn nonetheless as we come around the final corner now. And what's our first time going to be? As we open up the rear wing, the DRS, it's going to be a 1:32.1. Only 4 tenths behind Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari, and P4 out of everyone so far. And, you know, that is pretty good, isn't it? And I actually took the risk and just did the one lap in Q1, and it actually got us through. P14 and P15 as Yuki Tsunoda also gets through for the team. Lance Stroll and Esteban Ocon getting knocked out in Q1. Those two are having a horrendous season compared to their teammates. They're both below me in the championship standings, Stroll and Ocon, and Tsunoda as well. But of course Tsunoda's only been at the team for the second half of this season. Of course, at the start of the season we had Robert Schwartzman as our teammate, and we signed Yuki Tsunoda halfway through. As we come around the final corner for our first flying lap in Q2, we're the last one to set a time this time. Yuki Tsunoda is currently the slowest of everyone, and we go up to P8, but I did notice there that Hamilton had done his flying lap on the medium tyres, and actually, have a look at the weather. It's just started to rain at the end of the lap, so that means that we could be through to Q3. And we are through to Q3, but something I was unaware of until now is that we've got an 88 place grid penalty. Now, something I didn't show you on the thing, but I changed my engine components for practice, right? I changed them for practice, and they didn't actually change. When I went into qualifying, the parts I was trying to change to were still pending, so I just changed them back to what they were originally, that were the ones that were already fitted. But I've been given a grid penalty for that, and it's something I wasn't aware of in Q1 at all. So we're through to Q3, But it makes no difference. We don't do a lap in Q3 because we're going to be starting at the back regardless, because with an 88 place grid penalty, you know, what's the point? You know, we're going to be at the back. No one else is going to have that many places of a grid penalty. And it's a real shame as well, because Q3 is wet. So it means that, you know, we could have really started very high up, with both Mercedes out as well in Q2, having started and having gone for their laps on the mediums and not making it through to Q3. We could have started towards the front of the grid potentially, but in the end, as you can see, we're in P10, and yeah, that's it. The qualifying over, we're starting at the back.
Here we are then in one of the fastest growing cities in the United States, the fabulous Austin, in the great state of Texas. The circuit itself 14 miles southeast of the city centre and home to the US Grand Prix since 2012. The latest in a long list of iconic tracks to have that honour. It's the Circuit of the Americas then, situated 14 miles outside the great city of Austin. This is the 3.6 mile lap with 20 corners, 10 each to the left and to the right, and top speeds of around 200 miles per hour. Overtaking opportunities are available into turns 1 and 12, especially with that rear wing DRS wide open. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. It's Sergio Perez on pole position today, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Ricciardo, Fernando Alonso and Vettel, Bottas, Hamilton, Sainz and Lance Stroll, Russell, they've taken a grid penalty, Mick Schumacher, Robert Schwartzman and Latifi. Gasly, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Raikkonen, Antonio Giovinazzi and Yuki Tsunoda. Ocon, Mazepin, they've taken a grid penalty. Verstappen and Lawrence. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
So as you could see there, loads of grid penalties for loads of drivers. The fact that like Mick Schumacher and the Williams is starting in P12 can tell you that one. Max Verstappen, who is in P3, is on the back row with me, yet we still end up right at the back of the grid. But anyway, it's now time for the US Grand Prix as the 5 red lights come on. Once they go out, we'll be racing around COTA, and it's lights out and we're underway, and we get an okay start, I guess, from the back of the grid. We're not really too fussed about that, but are we going to go for the mega dive into turn 1? You best believe we are, and we've measured it to absolute perfection as well, as we haven't T-boned anyone into turn 1. We've got Robert Schwartzman alongside us in the Haas, but we're going to quickly squeeze him out, and Gasly's also going to squeeze him out as he's now alongside us into the S's, but we've managed to get ahead, and we've managed to get up into P13 from the back of the grid, P22. We have made it all the way up into P13 behind Stroll and Schumacher, so what a start that is for us, all the way up into P13 on the first lap. But can we make any more moves here into turn 11? As we do, we dive it down the inside of Stroll and Schumacher as well. I didn't think we were going to get them both, but we have done, and we're now up into P11. We're on the fringes of the points after just half a lap so far, as we head down the back straight now, and it looks like things are going to level out a bit. Stroll and Schumacher going side by side behind me, but nothing doing in the end, and we're not going to dive it up the inside of Sainz. I thought the better of that one. As we head on further down the lap then, we're coming up to the final corner, and we've really caught up to Carlos Sainz, and you know what? We're going to dive it into the final corner. Why not? We're in the top 10. We've gone from the back to the points in the space of the first lap, and now we're chasing after George Russell in the AlphaTauri. That's a mega stonking mega first lap from us. I didn't expect to make that much progress, as we have a little wobble there coming off the first corner, and Sainz is going to put us under a bit of pressure, but we are going to hold station. But someone else who's made up places and is looking to make up for lost time is Lewis Hamilton. He's already up into 8th place from the start, and he's now making a move on Sebastian Vettel. And look in front of them, Fernando Alonso and Daniel Ricciardo. Ricciardo's gone past Alonso and into the next corner. Alonso's on the inside. There's still wheel to wheel as they head down the hill into whatever turn this is. I don't know the turn numbers, I'm ever so sorry. And Ricciardo's on the inside. He squeezes Alonso out, and now Hamilton is looking to come back at Alonso to try and get ahead of Alonso as well. as we head on to lap 4, and we're looking to maybe size a move on George Russell here. It's very wide turn 1, so why not go for the dive? We've gone for it. Absolute kamikaze dive from us there, but we've made it work. We're up into P9 and we're ahead of George Russell, and we're now scoring 2 points, which, you know, to think of it, you know, we started in 22nd. We've gone off the track a bit there, in fairness, but we started in 22nd and we're already up into 9th. We've just had the fastest first sector of anyone. We are flying in this race at the moment. And Luke just ahead of us there. Lewis Hamilton is right on the back of Fernando Alonso. As they head into turn 11 and onto the back straight, it looks like it's the writing's on the wall for Fernando Alonso already in terms of 6th place, as the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton is absolutely flying as well. He's got DRS on the Alpine. He doesn't have DRS on Ricciardo, unfortunately, Alonso. And Hamilton sails past into 6th place. Meanwhile, let's check up on Yuki Tsunoda, shall we? He's making moves. He's up into 15th place. He's got the DRS on Mick Schumacher, and he has passed Mick Schumacher into turn 1, and he's got 2 battling Alpha Tauris ahead of him as well, Russell and Gasly. I don't know what Russell's done. I don't know if he's had to pit or something like that, but Russell has dropped like a stone since we've passed him. And whilst that was happening, I don't know if you saw it, but we also made a move on Sebastian Vettel in the same place into turn 1. We were on the outside, we dummied it, went to the inside, and we are past the Aston Martin, and we are into 8th place. What is going on with our car this weekend? It's absolutely rapid. And then we get information that someone else's car is not going to be quite as rapid.
Right, some information on Hamilton. They have an issue with their car. They're going to be slow.
So all of that good work that Lewis Hamilton has put in to get up to P6 from, I think it was P13 he started in the race, is potentially about to be all undone, as his car is now slow, and we're quickly catching him as well. Me and Alonso, we're catching him very quickly. He's at the back of that train of cars up ahead there, and Bottas, who started in 11th, is also part of that train as well. And as you can see, Hamilton is already dropping from the back of that train. And on the very next lap, we are going to box for our set of medium tyres. Now, let's see what everyone else does, because we've gone for soft, medium, soft as our strategy. I would presume that the rest of them have gone soft, soft, medium. Or if they've started on the mediums, they're going to go medium, soft, soft. But let's see, as we enter our pit box now, yeah, we've also come in with Alonso as well. Alonso's coming with us. It's a 1.8 second pit stop. We have jumped Alonso in the pits with that. Absolutely fantastic stop from the crew. And we rejoin in P15, which doesn't sound very good, but there's still plenty of drivers left to pit, including the leading pack out front as Perez comes out of the pit box. And oh, he nearly runs into the back of Daniel Ricciardo there, coming out of the pit, but he has been jumped by both Norris and Ricciardo. McLaren have pulled an absolute masterstroke here to get them both ahead of Sergio Perez, who, if I remember correctly, was the race leader, and Leclerc was also on the front row with him. So McLaren have done wonders with their strategy to get both of their cars ahead of the two that were ahead of them. Now, here's a sight to behold. Yuki Tsunoda on his former teammate Pierre Gasly. Of course, these two were teammates for the first half of the season, but this just shows, as this overtake is for the final place in the points, this just shows that this is not me, you know, looking good or the difficulty being low. No, our car is genuinely quick. Yuki Tsunoda, who started in P18, is now all the way up in P10 and past the AlphaTauri of Pierre Gasly. And we're now on lap 14, and this is Sergio Perez trying to make a move on Lando Norris. The lead has changed hands again, and at the moment, these two are battling for the net lead of the race. At the moment, it's for second place on track, because the person in the lead of the race is me. I'm in the lead of the race because I'm on medium tyres. So these two have already pit again for their second set of tyres. Perez on softs, Norris on mediums, and Perez makes the move on Lando Norris down the back straight and into turn 12, and Perez is up into second place, which will become the lead once I pit. But we're only going to be in the lead of the race for one lap, as we're going to come in to make our second stop, and it's our final stop onto a set of soft tyres, so we are going to be so much faster than other cars at the end of this race. Let's see if the crew can do another brilliant stop, as we want to try and, you know, get ahead of everyone who was behind us before. Alonso, Hamilton, Sainz, they were directly behind us before they all made their pit stops. We're going to stop onto softs. It's a 2.1 second stop That's pretty good. And as we come out of the pit lane now, Lewis Hamilton is coming down the straight now. There he is. He's come out alongside us and into turn 1. Who's going to win the battle? Oh, it's so close. It looks like it's going to be Hamilton. No, we banged wheels and we've remained ahead of Lewis Hamilton. His car is so much better now than it was, that's for sure. Meanwhile, towards the front, there's loads of battles going on, and this is now Daniel Ricciardo and Charles Leclerc. Down the pit straight, Leclerc goes to the inside of turn 1, late braking, gets ahead of the McLaren, but the McLaren's got a bit more traction, and Daniel Ricciardo's on hard tyres, Leclerc on medium, so Ricciardo's gone for the 1-stop, I think, or he's gone for a 2-stop that includes hard tyres, but the Ferrari gets ahead of the McLaren, and the tyre advantage definitely shows for Leclerc there. And that's what's good about this race, is everyone is on completely different strategies. Whilst we're on soft tyres here, trying to keep Lewis Hamilton behind who's on mediums, we're catching up to Pierre Gasly, who's on hard tyres, so he must have gone for the 1-stop as he's all the way up in P6. He definitely didn't start that high, that's for sure. I'm pretty sure he was in like P14 or something at the start of this race, but we are catching him at a rate of knots. We've got a 2-compound step better advantage than him, and on the back straight we're going to absolutely breeze past him with DRS, and we're going to put a car between ourselves and Lewis Hamilton. Gasly doesn't really fight it too much. We do go into turn 12 wheel to wheel, but we're so much better on the brakes. We've got so much more grip, and we're up into P6. And we managed to pull out a 2-second gap on Gasly. It's taken 2 laps for Lewis Hamilton to be able to get past the AlphaTauri, but he finally does it on lap 25 into turn 12, the same move that we did. Gasly tries to fight it, but he can't really fight it because of his tyres, and Lewis Hamilton is up into P7, and that is a very slow Red Bull, and that very slow Red Bull is the Red Bull of Sergio Perez, the race leader. 2 laps from the end, Sergio Perez has got a mechanical or an engine issue. His engine is smoking down the main straight, and Sergio Perez, after leading for the majority of the race, being in front, has to retire with 2 laps to go. Unbelievable scenes here at COTA. As we're on the last lap, still being hounded by Lewis Hamilton, but it's not going to come. He's not going to be able to pass us. We are going to finish in P5 here. Another very, very strong result for the team. A very strong result for McLaren as well, as Lando Norris picks up his first win in Formula 1, winning the US Grand Prix. Meanwhile, we come round the final corner now, and we are going to finish in P5 from the back of the grid. That's not bad for season 1, is it? P5, we've kept Lewis Hamilton behind us for the entire race. It's been an astonishing drive. We get driver of the day, that is not a surprise. We gained 17 places.
McLaren have pulled it off. They've won in spectacular fashion here today. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection. A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
Our drivers are making their way out for the podium celebrations, and it's going to be McLaren picking up the winner's trophy. Congratulations to the entire team for that fantastic performance.
First of all, what a podium that is. Lando Norris winning the race. Valtteri Bottas from 11th place got up to P2, and Charles Leclerc completes the podium after starting in P2. And yeah, it's a bit different from your standard Hambot Ver podium, isn't it? We come home though in P5. Absolutely fantastic result. We've managed to finish only 17 seconds behind the leader without any sort of safety car or anything like that. We were genuinely quick today. Like, we've kept Lewis Hamilton behind for majority of the race. Pierre Gasly did a sterling job as well, P15 to P7. Max Verstappen, who was on the back row with me, ended up getting points as well in P9. But unfortunately for Yuki Tsunoda, the game has glitched him a bit there, because he was running in P10, so he would have got another point, but he's got a fastest lap of a 1:19.1. So obviously that is not right. That's not true, obviously. So he's been awarded a DNF. I don't know what happened there, because nothing happened to him on track or anything like that, so it's just the game bugging out a bit. We've lost 1 point. Yuki Tsunoda's lost 1 point. It's not the end of the world, really, but what can you do? Anyway, we're still behind in our rivalry with Esteban Ocon. I don't know how that's happening, because Esteban Ocon is a long way down the grid compared to us at the moment. He's well behind us in the championship, so I don't even know. But yeah, unfortunately, you know, Yuki Tsunoda, he just got glitched. Simple as that. I'm not going to sit here and complain about the game being stupid and all that sort of stuff, because it's happened before. Like, well, no, it's not happened before. That's what I meant. It's not happened before. So I'm not going to, be like, oh, I've lost a point. Nah, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter really that much. As we move on to a Powertrain Department event, apparently the staff are working a bit hard, so we choose between giving them a short-term break, but that decreases their morale, or we give them a short-term break, which increases their morale but costs us 50k. That was a no-brainer. We're going to give them their little break. It's absolutely no problems whatsoever. Unfortunately, we've had the redesigned brake ducts fail on us, but that's not a problem because we can just redo that. And that is actually going to put us a long way up in aero as we have more upgrades completing and all of that good stuff. But guys, that is it for this episode of the F1 2021 My Team Career Mode. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to smash that like button down below. Subscribe if you like what you see and you want to see more. And if you don't want to miss a video, then hit that little bell next to the big red subscribe button and you'll get a notification whenever I upload. But until next time, guys, thanks so much for watching.